Hello and welcome to the 55th Great Michigan Parade here. With you again is myself, Preston Trent, and I'm joined again by the lovely Caitlin Gordon.
Thank you, Preston. So happy to be back for another year.
Oh, sorry, former Miss Richmond, Caitlin Gordon.
Yes, we'll never let that down, will we?
No.
Until Preston has the Princess Wave perfect, he will no longer bring up that I was a Miss Richmond.
Well, one of us has to be able to wave. So we're excited to have you guys here with us for another great parade broadcasted here by Richmond Television. We are located this year next to Rick's Barbershop, kind of between the Barbershop and Marathon. And you can see the banner coming down Main Street right now. We got a nice shot there of some of the cheerleaders carrying that banner. And they will be followed by the Richmond VFW carrying their flags, the POW flag, as well as our American flag. One of the great traditions here with the parade is having those veterans sort of lead the parade for us with all their red, white, and blue, and you can hear they're getting pretty loud applause from the parade watchers.
Some stood through for the red, white, and blue.
Can't say enough good things about our VFW veterans and our military forces as well. As we see some of the VFW vehicles, some old Army Jeeps, and a transport truck coming down.
The Army cars are always so popular with the kids, too.
The kids
they get so
love it.
excited about it.
How many of these kids you think go home and find these vehicles in their G.I. Joe sets and set this up?
Oh, yeah, and if they don't have it, I feel like maybe mom or dad has it somewhere from their childhood, like the really good old classic ones.
That's another thing we got to mention about this new location is this beautiful shot we have going north up Main Street right by the town clock. As we see the Richmond Police Chief, Dave Teskey, coming down, accompanied by some of the Macomb County Mounted Sheriff's officers. There's Chief Teskey.
He's smart. He's like, I'm not walking this parade. I'm getting in the car.
He's got the windows down, so there might be a little bit of a breeze. We actually got kind of lucky. I was looking at the weather earlier this week, and it looked like it was going to rain, but knock on wood, the weather's holding for us. It's a little chilly, but still a beautiful day for a parade.
We'll take a cloudy, chilly day over rain anytime.
Exactly. And we see next we've got Nick Yelenich and Tom McKernan, members of the Richmond Fire Department, driving the antique truck. That truck's been getting a lot of miles in this week. It was in the children's parade. They've been giving rides on it, and I know they'll have their open house coming up a little bit later this fall, where people will be able to go in, look at some of the different trucks, and actually take rides around town on the antique truck.
I'll go to the open house if that Dalmatian's going to be there. He is so cute. You can't have fire trucks without a Dalmatian.
Exactly.
It's just not right.
And these members of the fire department have been busy all week, not only with this parade, but all the different events they had to be at with the derbies, the bump and run, the fireworks they had to stand by for. And actually they had water balls set up over on Stone Street all week.
They did, yes.
And I found out you learned something fun about water ball this year.
So we always have a fun tradition now with water ball where we have antique Miss Richmonds, as we like to call them, versus the current Miss Richmond. And I did it 2 years ago, and I actually got hit in the face with a water hose. And I learned yesterday that I got hit with about 90 to 110 pounds of pressure washer on my face about 2 years ago. I did not get a black eye, and me and the girl hugged it out, so it was okay. No hard feelings.
More members of the fire department going down the water truck and the grass truck.
I think this might be the first year in a while that they're being nice and not sporting the parade members.
I think we're kind of a little more hidden this year,
Yes.
too. As we see some of the members of the St. Clair Fire Department come through. St. Clair and Lenox Township now. I think those are members. Looks like
Memphis.
Yep. Lenox Township Fire Department members passing out candy to the kids. As we see some of the Memphis trucks go by. I know a lot of those Lenox and Memphis guys were out this weekend at the derbies and the fireworks.
Yep, all of our surrounding areas have been very helpful and supportive this weekend while the festival has been going on, lending hands wherever we need it. Plenty of police and firefighters helping out.
As well as members of our Richmond Lenox EMS. You see the ambulance going by now. Followed by our Grand Marshals. Grand Marshals for this year are Judy and Carl Phillips. They have 3 children, Amy, Brent, and Darren. Judy worked at the bank and Susan's Hallmark. She was a member of the Rotary and won the Paul Harris Award. Was a member of Eta Zeta Pi, Trinity Lutheran Church. Serves the church in various ways. Excuse me. Carl taught at Richmond schools and coached golf and tennis. Taught driver's ed, and in his retirement, he still runs golf and bowling leagues. So very, very deserving members for that Grand Marshalship.
And of course, McKernan Farms pulling the Grand Marshal as always. And in case you missed it, we just had our lovely Joe Towing go by.
And we got the antique Joe Baller towing truck.
How fitting, the new truck towing the old truck.
Yes. And we see one of our parade sponsors, the Richmond Lions Club. Do a lot of great things here in the community, organize a bunch of different community events. Can't say enough good things about the Lions Club. And they are followed by our Richmond Blue Devil Marching Band. The band is under the direction of Miss Molly Shack.
Always does such a good job of cheering on all the teams. And this Friday, they cheered the Blue Devils on to a victory over Armada.
Over those pesky Armada Tigers, yes they did. The band, it was a game where we need a little momentum, and that band was right there to get everybody going.
No hard feelings though. We'll see the Armada marching band a little later.
Uniforms are sharp too, with that Carolina blue on the sleeves. That's a good look.
I do kind of wish they did have the really cool hats on with the feathers
Oh, the
coming up
feather.
though. It's always my
Carolina blue
favorite.
feather.
Yes.
There we go.
Preston, you work at Richmond now. You can like put that in the suggestion box, right?
I do. I could make a suggestion there. There's the I was wondering where he was at. We have the Lions Club mascot. One of the kids' favorites going by. And that float you see coming down now would be none other than our very own Miss Richmond.
Oh, they have the wave down so perfect. I'm so proud of the girls.
Were you coaching them in the wave?
You know, I always do give a little pointers, but you know, talent like that, you can't learn, you just have it.
And there we see Miss Richmond and her 2 court members. Miss Richmond this year is Kelly Moylanen. She is studying to be a vet tech at Macomb. Her court members we see closest to us is Emily Nichter, who is studying theater at Oakland, and Shannon Gaffney, who is a senior at Richmond. Shannon, fun fact, Caitlin, was all-state last year in the discus.
Yes, I do remember that. And following up right behind our big queens, of course, are our little Miss Richmonds. They were just crowned this past weekend at the start of our Good Old Days festivities. Our little Miss Richmond is Olivia Hill. Her court members include Addison Shear, Sophia Maniknik, Natalie, and Kingston.
See, they've even got the wave going down a little bit right there with the pink mittens.
I'm telling you, Richmond Queens, they have that wave down pat.
Down pat. And we see this group now getting a standing ovation from the crowd is the 82nd Airborne Division, presenting the colors. Followed by one of their vehicles. Can't say enough about the crowd either. Always gives such a warm welcome to both our armed forces and our first responders.
Yeah.
We've had a couple standing ovations already. And they are followed by the Armada Robotics team, the Fighting Pie. And we see their mascot right there. As well as some of their other robots. One of them's carrying a flamingo. I don't know what event that would be with the flamingo robot, but
Never a wrong time for a flamingo.
might have to tune in and check that one out. And I think this is actually a combo float with the Richmond and Merritt Academy robot teams, because I see a whole bunch of robots going by.
I think we might need to get one of them for next year to help us out. We have like another commentator with us. We should make that a challenge for them.
Following the robotics are the Richmond Community Schools. I see members of the administrative staff, including Mr. Walmsley there out front, some of the school board members, some of our administrators. There's Mr. Reinhardt. Some of the other principals and teachers. A lot of great things going on there at the schools, both academically, athletically, and we saw some of the robotics groups go by. So a lot of moving parts going on there at the school. And their motto, great kids, great schools, and a great community. I think that rings true for those schools.
And you can hear the crowd getting excited now because here comes our Richmond High School trap team who won the state championship this year.
Yeah, It's been, I don't think we've been together on this broadcast, Caitlin, where there hasn't been, we'll have Jason check it for us, but I don't think there hasn't been a Richmond State Championship float in a parade that we've called.
I think you're right. If we're not state championship floats, we at least have a runner-up that's going by. The kids are always putting forth the best that they can to bring home titles for Richmond.
Yes. A lot of hard work goes into each of those by both the kids, and they got a lot of advisors with this trap team. I think it's the second year this team's been in existence.
That would be right, and the second time they brought home a championship.
And they've also got their fundraiser where you can win a raffle to win a side-by-side. Might have to find some tickets for that.
I was going to say, we're going to have to find some raffle tickets.
More of our sponsors of the parade: Thomas McGovern, lawyer here in town, and Richmond New Holland, located over there on the south side of town by Tivoli's.
Oh, this is one of my favorites that comes to the parade. I love the bagpipes, Preston, every year. You can hear them coming a mile away, and they're my favorite.
Yes, this band came to us all the way from Ontario. This is the Ingersoll Pipe Band. And I know a lot of these bands actually, after the parade, will go and make their way down and take turns playing in the beer tent, which is always a good time. This next fire truck is maintained by Mr. Jeff Yarrick, who is currently our state representative and is seeking re-election this November. Member of the City Council and a firefighter, I believe, down in excuse me if I get this wrong, Mr. Yarrick, but I believe it was Clinton Township or Sterling Heights. So does a lot of things to support those first responders. And another antique fire truck.
Taken over by the Richmond cheer team.
Getting the crowd fired up here for the parade. And we've got members of the Richmond Masonic Lodge with their antique tractor, and some of the Masons there following behind. Another one of those very, very involved community groups, as well as some of our sponsors, Foster Blue Water Oil and Frank Law Firm.
We have the 1st Michigan Colonial Fire, our Fleet and Drum Corps. I feel like this might be the outfit we need to wear next year, especially if it's chilly again.
If it's chilly like these guys,
good.
Usually they're the ones that are sweating, but they've got it down for this year.
They figure at least one parade a year, they'll be good. This is the parade.
Regardless, sun, rain, cold, warm, they always sound great. That antique Revolutionary War era sound. Coming to us all the way from Sterling Heights. And next we've got members of the Peter J. Lucido for State Senator Group. In their bright yellow, you can't miss those. You can't miss those yard signs either with the bright yellow. He might be onto something. And they've got a couple dogs in there, Caitlin. I know that'll help to win your vote.
Votes, yeah. Very easy to persuade my decisions when it comes to dogs. Oh, and they have a Rottweiler puppy. That's it for me. I'm voting for him. Done.
Done.
I've got 2 at home. I'm done.
Might
He's
as
my
well.
man.
Might as well fill out Caitlin's ballot now. There's Mr. Lucido. He knows. He may not know it yet, but he knows he's got at least one vote.
He's got one.
In November. And Mr. Lucido is followed. You see more members of the Lucido group there promoting their candidate. We see coming up behind him are members of the Richmond Sportsman's Club. And carrying the Sportsman's Club banner are members of the Richmond Boy Scouts Troop 84.
I always kind of wish I knew somebody in Boy Scouts. You guys, they learn how to make those really cool knots, right?
Yes.
Yes. I need to learn how to do that because I tie things and like 2 seconds later, it's no good. I can tie my shoes and that's about it. Nothing else fancy.
A lot of great life skills those Boy Scouts learn.
And they give out really good scholarships if they can to their members that are in for long periods as well.
They do. Coming up next, I see some blue and white. That looks like it's the Richmond Little League District Champ team. The 13-year-old boys were District 7 champions, and we see some of the members of that team up there. Being pulled by the Proline asphalt truck. Definitely doesn't feel like baseball season.
It does not. Football season's in. It's almost time, yeah.
And we see more of our parade sponsors. We've got the Chaps banner.
And Joe's Pyro beside that one.
Fireworks. This was one of my favorites growing up as a kid, were the Keystone Cops.
Preston, do you think if I got you one of those mini motorcycles that you'd be able to ride around in the parade like that?
100%.
You can do it?
100%.
Challenge accepted. Next year, look out for Preston. He's going to take a break from broadcasting and he's going to do this.
Think they'll let me just do the broadcast from the bike?
Ooh, we might have to talk with Jason, but I feel like we might be able to swing it for a little bit. We can get you one of those like GoPros attached to your chest so you can get like a whole different perspective of the parade.
And the wheelie car. More than, and the Keystone Cops, are more than just guys on tiny motorbikes. They've been parading since the 1960s. That car you saw go by was the 1924 Ford Model T. And they modified it to be able to do those wheelies back and forth. We're starting to see a lot of our regular parade members coming through now. And while we've got kind of a little bit of a space here, we want to tell you guys that you can check out this and all the other Richmond TV programming. You can check that out on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, search Richmond TV 12, you can find all of our programming, including a lot of the events from the fair this week. You can see, of course, the parade. You can see some of the sports games that get produced, as well as other productions that go on, the Miss Richmond pageant, Count Richmond. All of those will be on YouTube if you search Richmond TV 12.
And up next, we have our League of Women's Voters for the Macomb County area. Oh, and they have a dog too. Everybody just knew that this was the parade to bring out the dogs.
Well, the dogs are probably loving this cooler weather too.
Oh, yeah. And plus, they know everybody in the parade came out specifically just for them.
And some more parade sponsors. We've got the Henry Ford Health System and Metalodge of Richmond. Both of those groups actually just went through major renovations. We've got the new Henry Ford Center on the south end of town. And then
Metal Lodge just went through a huge construction when they added so many new wings
Yeah.
and rooms for their residents. It looks beautiful inside.
yeah, a lot of big things going on in town right now. It sounds like Michael Jackson's Thriller, and that is being played by the Port Huron Northern Marching Huskies. And they've got the zombie look going on too, it looks like.
It happens every year. Preston has again been approached by his fan base. Eventually, I will be on that level of celebrity status in this town. Unfortunately, I have not reached that peak yet. I need to be around for a couple more years, I think.
Just give it time, Caitlin. Just
You
give
know,
it time.
to reach Preston's level, you gotta work for it. It does not happen overnight.
So again, making the trip down, just making a little trip south. This is the Port Huron Northern Marching Band. You really wouldn't be able to know what school it was because they're not in their uniforms. They've got the Thriller zombie
Look going for
look
them.
going on. And they put, some of these must have put a lot of work into their costumes.
Oh, I do like that there's that whole row of Where's Waldo zombies.
Which one's Waldo?
Which
We don't
one?
know.
You don't
We
know.
Oh, we got an angel. So I don't know if that would be a zombie yet or was a zombie. Some pretty talented zombies too. I didn't see any on The Walking Dead that could play the way that band was
Oh
playing.
no. Next up, we have Miss Memphis that has joined us for the parade. You know what? She's got the wave down too. These queens got it.
Does. They must watch us on YouTube
They must.
and listen to
They
your
took
pointers.
the
you
pointers.
give. And Miss Memphis is followed by that antique, or I shouldn't say antique, but classic Trans Am.
Preston is showing his age a little bit.
A little bit. And more sponsors, Northern Air and Telto Contracting.
And of course, following their queen is the Memphis Yellow Jacket Marching Band.
Sporting all their blue and yellow for the Yellow Jackets.
Luckily this year for me and Preston, these are the only Yellow Jackets we've been in contact with. We have not had any flying around us while we've been broadcasting.
Oh, knock on wood.
But while the band is going by, and speaking of things that fly, the Richmond Good Old Days actually added a new event that people can partake in this year, which is helicopter rides around the town.
It was fun. We were at the football game Friday night, and I'm like on the sidelines coaching. I'm like, man, why does this helicopter keep going by? And it kept going around and then be gone, then come back around. I'm like, are they trying to broadcast the game or what's going on here?
They
Then
wanted the best view of the game in Richmond.
I was telling you about earlier. You're like, oh yeah, they're having
They
helicopter
do the
rides.
helicopter rides now, yeah.
I didn't know. Now we know. Now you know. And we've got with the fair, we've got that, and actually there was a 5K they ran around, went around the park and then through some of the neighborhoods on the north side of town. They had a pretty good turnout.
I was gonna say, I will be more than happy to hand out water to the dedicated runners.
Yeah, I definitely
cannot
did.
run, I can't do it.
No. And actually following the Memphis band and following Miss Memphis is the Doghouse Tavern. Really, really popular spot in Memphis.
For obvious reasons, their mascot, all of the dogs, good food, good drinks. What more do you need? Some of those dogs, though, they look like they're ready. They're like, let's go back home.
Let's go home. And this next group are the Community of Christ Church. And we see members of the church there, as well as some of the younger members riding on the float. And they are followed by the Manchek family and their, well, I guess we could call it a fleet.
Yeah.
Their fleet of antique tractors, both, you know, traditional tractors, and we saw one of the pedal tractors go by.
A little not so traditional. I think this group might be growing every year of the parade. I think they just add one more person every year to it.
We see Nick Shuttleworth there on one of the Massey Harris, giving us a wave. All the Mancheks out in their red and yellow.
It must take forever to store all these tractors.
Oh. You think about all these antique tractors, these antique cars that go through, and the amount of time and energy and money really it takes to maintain these and keep them looking as pristine as they do.
Yeah, the dedication the owners have to keeping them as tip-top as they can and looking amazing. You'd never know they were so old.
No. You would have think they just rolled right off the shop floor the way they're shined up. And of course, a lot of these tractors are out and they get displayed in the park all week so that people can come out, they can look at it. Some of them, they let the kids sit on them over there kind of in that historical area of the park. As we see a couple more of the Massey Harrises go by.
We should have counted all the tractors to see if they add next year.
And there we see Fran Manchek driving his 55 Massey Harris, pulling the wagon. With, you guessed it, another Massey Harris on the wagon. Looks like a lawnmower up there.
That's the good thing about having a big family, though. They can drive all the tractors. They've got candy passer outers.
You got all your bases covered.
Yeah.
Next up, we see the Woodward Avenue Chili van coming through. Wonder what they're passing out. Are they passing out chili?
I think actually I see a little girl. She's got
Are
a can.
they?
I think they really are, yeah.
How do we get some of that back here?
I know, if we say it loud or if we just wave maybe. I mean, at least you should get one for calling that they're actually passing out chili samples. You didn't think you were going to be right.
No. As we see more of our parade sponsors, Active Tree Experts and Jacqueline Atkinson of Keller Williams Realty. I know she's been busy. Houses in town have been going up for sale, sold, up for sale, sold. A lot of people wanting to move in here into town, so those realtors have been really working hard this summer.
Now we have the Dakota High School Marching Band, the Cougars, coming to celebrate with us.
Yep, the largest high school in the state, and we'll see that reflected here because they are arguably one of our larger bands by numbers. So we might actually get to hear like one or two songs as they come by.
They're going by, yeah.
while we were setting up earlier today, they had a little drumline competition going on over on Park Street. So we couldn't see what band it was, but we were able to hear a bunch of these bands and their drum lines kind of have a little competition.
I think it was a telltale sign for everybody that they're here. The parade's going to start soon. Find your spots and let's go.
Yeah, let's get ready to go. Half the battle too with these bands is you'll see the truck go by, getting all those instruments up here from Macomb Township.
I'm always amazed because even though the tractors and like the trucks and everything look so big, when I see the size of some of these kids' instruments, I could never imagine having to figure out where everything has to go.
It's got to be one of the most complicated puzzles in the world. We see the Ray Wiegand's Nursery, 1940 stake truck.
One of my parents' favorite destinations in Richmond in the summertime. Go check out the nursery.
It usually is followed by a lot of work planning
Yes.
those plans. Speaking of planning and nurseries, we've got sponsors Tractor Supply Company and Wesley Orthodontics. Banner being carried by some of our varsity football members, another great parade tradition. And that we are looking is the Shia Alley Clown Club.
These are the clowns of the parade that Preston doesn't mind.
I don't mind these
The
clowns.
fun clowns you bring to parties, Preston can handle. Behind them, we have our Richmond Community Theater. I believe the production that they had going on this weekend that I still think you can get tickets for the next weekend to come is the Producers, if I'm correct?
Yep. Looks like the shows will be held September 14th, 15th, 16th, and then 21st, 22nd, 23rd. So the next 2 weekends you can go check out the Producers.
I've heard great reviews from this weekend from people who have made it out when they were taking a break from the fairgrounds and everything. They said the cast does a wonderful job and the set is beautiful for everything. So I highly recommend it if you have time these next coming weekends.
The Big Tootsie Roll means that we are looking at the Richmond Knights of Columbus, another extremely active group in the community, both within the church and outside the church, doing a bunch of different events, as well as sponsors Rewalt Pesh Funeral Homes, Blue Flame, and Sunrise Stores.
And now we have the Elmont High School Marching Band. Not too far of a drive for Elmont to come be with us this Sunday.
Go from giant bands like Dakota to a little bit smaller bands like Elmont, and you still get a great sound. It's cool too hearing the different tunes you'll hear from each band as they go by.
The different styles all the schools like to play, yeah.
We see members from St. Peter's Church, St. Peter's Lutheran Church and School.
I think they might have frisbees they're throwing out. Oh, nope, even better, Preston, they got koozies.
Ah. I don't know if Pastor Mark can make that all the way back here. That'd be a heck of a flow. He's got a little bit of a wind at his back.
He's got kind of the wind going. He's got the good flick of the wrist going. I think he might have it if he really tried.
They did a bunch. St. Peter's did a bunch of events, or not a bunch, but they had nights where they would have kind of a service or get together out at the park, and they'd barbecue, and because I showed up to work in the evenings and I'm like, oh, what's going on? And trying to drum up membership, getting people out in the community. So good things going on over there at St. Pete's, as well as Southern Thumb and their musical trailer we see every year.
I think it was about 2 weeks ago, Southern Thumb had a little concert and they had some of their students that were performing.
Yeah. Just trying to get that music out into the community, which is never a bad time.
Never. Preston, even though I see Scarefest Green Park, I think you might be safe. I don't think they brought any of my creepy clowns this year.
I saw that on the docket, and I was like, all right, after Southern Thumb, deep breath, deep breath. But we see just the transport truck going by.
The transport truck. Although, don't worry, Preston has already agreed that he will go to Scarefest with me this year. Let me videotape him with all the scary clowns as we go through a haunted house. So that way we can open next year's parade with that enjoyment for you.
Yeah, I don't know how I agreed to that one, but...
Well, it's okay. We can always just bring the Ghostbusters with us, and you'll be just fine.
I think it's funny, too, they put the Ghostbusters right... That might be why there weren't any Screamfest people, because the Ghostbusters have them.
They were doing their job a little too well. I was hoping there'd be at least one creepy thing for Preston.
And it looks like they're blowing soap bubbles to the kids.
And of course, playing their classic song.
Oh yeah, one of the most iconic movie theme songs out there.
We now have our Fayorama queens that have joined us today.
We've got Queen Adria Hopp and her court members Olivia Loving and Noelle Stanley.
Looks like these queens came a little prepared for chilly weather. They have some nice shawls going on for them. We always want queens to be comfortable.
And we see two more sponsors going by, the Golden Hawk Golf Course and TM Smith and Tool Corporation. We talk about these banners as they go by, and they may not have a group associated with them, but it's those sponsors that make events like the parade happen. Followed by the Harper Woods High School Marching Pioneers. Pretty upbeat tune you're hearing. You can see some of the people in the crowd bobbing their head. Look, there's a couple of kids, see that? A couple of kids over there dancing. Following the band, we have Jeremy Yake in his model AA Ford. That is a 1929 model AA, and you wouldn't know, looking at it, that it's close to 100 years old.
Really?
Close to 90-ish, but still.
That, the people that have the dedication for these cars, I applaud them. Because they always look wonderful.
And I think they're gonna have to go up with the boom truck to see this one, the Jeremy's Automotive. I think calling it a monster truck would be a little bit of an understatement.
I would agree with that one, yeah.
It's got to have like one of those helicopter rope ladders that folds down for you to climb up.
Yeah, I'm very curious on how they all got up there, and also how they're all going to get down from there.
And we have the Jeremy's Towing, the flatbed tow truck there.
If they ever have to tow that monster truck, that's the true testament on how good their towing is.
gosh, yeah. Could you imagine trying to get that on the back of that truck?
Oh boy. Could be worse. You'd have to push it. That'd be way worse.
And we see there the Pankowitz Farm Cider Mill tractor, 1939 John Deere Model A, is being driven by Colin Walsh this year, which is Steve Pankowitz. We see Steve down there talking to some of the community members. Colin is a 10-year-old from Marysville.
He looks so excited that he gets to drive the tractor this year.
We actually got to talk to one of the Pankowitz boys who said, you got to make sure you mention Colin. He is so excited to drive this tractor.
And you know that smile on his face, you can tell he's having the best time.
All he's going to talk about at school tomorrow is, I got to drive the tractor.
In the big
In the
parade. Well, Preston, we've seen monster trucks. How about some monster horses?
Monster horses. They come to us from the Huron-Clinton Metro County Parks. They've got the Clydesdales out. Working on getting them into position here.
You know what they say, it's always hard to work with children and animals. A mind of their own, and if they don't want to do it, they are not.
They don't, but it looks like these horses have got their minds right. They're ready to pull through this parade.
They look beautiful with all their harnesses on, as well as their red pieces in their manes.
And the Metro Parks paying tribute to some of our veterans, thanking them for their service. A nice gesture there.
And in case you're ever wondering how they transport these beautiful horses, that big semi following behind is what they get to travel around in. I think these horses might be riding in better style than I am.
I know. They probably got to roll right up in that truck, and I had to park 6 blocks away to get here.
Finally found somebody who's a bigger celebrity than you, Preston, the horses.
Until I've got a ride like that, B-list, B-list. And following the horses in that boat, looks like we've got the St. Augustine Church and School. We see members of the parish, members of the school. I think I see Father Joe there in the back of the truck.
Is he hiding out in there? I think he is. I see him.
I think so. Oh, no, there's Father Joe.
Oh, he was sneaking out behind.
Hanging out in the back. See him all the time riding his bike through town. Really active member of the community.
He ran in the outhouse race not that long ago, too, right? I don't know if he did this year. I think he might have done it last year, though.
He actually, they set up a young adult kickball league. And he refereed it.
Oh.
So I had to be on my best behavior.
Oh, yes, you always have to be. We now have the Great Lakes Drunk Corp Alumni Association coming through.
And I want to make a mention to two of our sponsors that kind of snuck by there behind the St. A's banner. Dr. Chiraki, the dentist here in town, right on Main Street, just before the curve. And the Richmond Rotary, another group like the KFC and the Masons, active. You can go to the Red Barn here at the fair to get some good food. And we see Julie Gaddy coming down in the, not in the Corvette, but with that Corvette. She is running for circuit judge. We see them in their light blue shirts.
We've also seen the light blue balloons throughout the parade ground.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
was
best way to
wondering
get
what
the
those
kids.
were from. They definitely stand out.
Unfortunately,
and we see Julie, you'll see Julie down there, right there, talking
there
to
she is.
some of the patrons.
Luckily, though, they did bring some extra balloons because unfortunately I have seen some little kids that have let go and it has just drifted away with the wind.
See you later. The Henry Ford Health System and Jeremy's Automotive, sponsors of our parade, carried by more of our members of the Richmond football team. And it looks like Julie's even got her own mascot for re-election. That looks like a tiger.
I don't know. I just heard in the audience a kid was saying to his mom, "No, Mom, that's a dog." So it's up for debate. You let us know what you think.
Comment below what you think the mascot was.
I think I've heard dog. I heard a polar bear out there.
We should just take a vote,
Yeah.
and the winner of our vote in the comments.
That's what it is.
And the next one are the Detroit Shrine Lancers in their mini cars.
So this will be a backup if we can't get you the
Can't
little
get the mini bike.
motorcycle.
We get the mini
We'll do
cars.
the cars, yeah.
And they get going on these too. You think about this too. They're moving and doing this figure eight. As the parade's moving, that figure eight is sliding. So it takes a little work to figure out, how far you're going to go, where you're going to turn, as you keep moving forward down the parade route and down Main Street.
And just a little backstory in case you don't know who the Shiners are. They are members of a child care unit that's worked with Shiners Hospital throughout the United States and Canada, and their main thing is to turn no child away if they need help.
Yeah, they joke that they're known as those crazy guys who drive those little cars, and it kind of goes right along with their message that they ride these cars and raise this money so that children can walk and they can get the care and the resources they need. I can't think of a better way.
Yeah. That
Or a
gets their
better
message
cause.
across. I don't think there's anybody that goes to any parade that doesn't know who they
Doesn't
are.
recognize the Shriners. And we see First State Bank coming down with their back to school float. All their school supplies and books, and we see members of the bank. I see Mr. Coosdale there in the back. As some of the other bank members pass out candy to the kids. And we see sponsors Dick Hoovar's, Chrysler Dodge Jeep, and Grace Performance. So you can go buy your car and then get it all souped up at Grace.
This would be the
Cuzno.
Thank you. High school marching band.
The Patriots of Cuzno playing Yankee Doodle. I don't know if that's their official fight song, but it could be pretty close.
I don't think anybody would argue if they decided it was.
And following Cuzno, we see the Ford Bronco Club. We might be the only town, don't quote me on this, that has a Ford Bronco Club. And like we talked with, you guys are going to see here in a second, some of these Broncos are like pristine condition.
I think
We see, actually, we'll see this gray one coming up, is we're located outside Ricks's Barbershop, is actually the owner, Matt Ricks's Bronco.
I think I might have to go with the yellow one, though. I don't know if it's the color or not, but that's the one that's tugging at my heartstrings.
It looks like something you'd see in an episode of That 70s Show.
Yes, maybe that's why I like it. Just need to get like some of the gang in there and drive around.
And unlike a lot of classic cars, I actually see a lot of these Broncos driving around town in the summer, just here and there. Next is the Grooming Tales Mobile Pet Salon. How convenient is that, Caitlin? I know you're a big dog person.
I am.
Have the groomer show right up to your driveway, groom the dog.
And that's it. You don't even have to go anywhere. I feel like that's so great, especially for so many members of the community. It works out so better for them if they're just able to do it a little more convenient for them. And of course, you have some of their beautiful models coming behind them to show what a wonderful job they do.
That is a very well-groomed dog.
Look at it in their little tutus. Although I think I see a dog that didn't want to get out of the bubble bath today. You see her right there?
Oh, somebody is in the process of being groomed.
Still getting beautiful.
I'd rather get the bubbles to stay like that. Next, we've got North Star Bank. North Star is located on Gratiot, just south of town, heading towards New Haven. And a couple more of our sponsors. Prosper Tech and Growing Smiles Dentistry lead the New Haven High School Marching Band, the Marching Rockets. Sounds like the song from Austin Powers.
I think it might be, yeah.
Now these next guys have the right idea. Everybody else is walking in the parade.
They're gonna ride it out.
This is the Hells Are Home group. They are riding on their motorized picnic table.
And they were one of our biggest supporters at Waterball yesterday. We had a
Really?
large group of them show out. I don't know if they competed afterwards, but they were very supportive while everybody was doing the activity.
And I know they're one of those groups that's active in the community as well,
Yes.
raising money for children. We've got Fred Miller, who is running for clerk. I believe that's Mr. Miller there waving. As well as more sponsors, Richmond Transport. We saw the Manchecks go by in their tractors. And the Bailey Dental Group. Bailey Dental located down by McDonald's. I can just draw a whole map of where these sponsors are for.
Yeah, we might as well.
Next year I'll draw the map up.
Afterwards, that'll be like the flash on the screen of like where you can go for the people. We'll like color coordinate numbers or something, make
Yeah.
it really easy for everybody. Preston, do you hear it?
I do.
One of my favorites.
It sounds like another pipe band. I mean, we got really lucky with this weather today.
Yeah,
That's
we
good.
did.
This is the Detroit Shrine Highlanders pipe band. So we see them in their traditional Highlanders garb, the tall socks, the kilts. All the tassels on the bagpipes.
What do you think, Preston? I know people can't see your whole outfit, but what about doing a kilt one year?
For this broadcast,
Yeah, why not?
well, you can't see from the waist down.
I know, but maybe like afterwards we could do like a long shot or something of
Maybe.
get full view.
It would have to be warm. It can't be cold like it is today.
Not a chilly day. I can at least give you that. Not a chilly day.
This group we see are some of the members of Grace Performance and some of their ATVs, side-by-sides. I know these guys, it's killing them right now to try and go at the slow
Go the
parade
slower
pace.
pace.
You want to just gun it. You've got all that power. You're from Grace Performance. They are followed up by the Algonac Riverboat, and it is the River Queen 2. Algonac's festival is actually over the 4th of July weekend, which we'd have to double check. Would that be before, the weekend before 4th of July or after? Because 4th of July was on a Wednesday this year.
You know, I don't know. You'd probably have to double check on that one when you have kind of the weird 4th of July in the middle of the week.
It says the River Queen's been around for about 40 years. They're celebrating 78 years of the Lions Club. There are 5,613 Lions clubs in the United States, and Algonac ranks in the top 20
Wow.
for contributions made to leader dogs for the blind. And we see they are followed by the Algonac Royalty and sponsors T's Roadhouse and Heinz Chiropractic. And here come the Chippewa Valley Big Reds Marching Band. No denying they're the Big Reds.
I don't think it's going to be quite as long as Dakota, but I think this is going to be another one of our larger marching bands that's going to come through. This might be the first parade they've ever done where they actually get to wear their hoodies.
Their coats.
Yeah, they don't have to wear the full-blown uniform.
Usually those uniforms don't come out until about like week 6 or week 7 of the football season.
I think so.
Bet you they had them out for week 3 on Friday. Chippewa was another one of those bands that were competing in our little impromptu drumline competition over on Park Street. And we'll see those members of the drumline coming up here shortly in their black coats coming up. There's the Chippewa drumline. Again, another one of those mysteries. How do they get all of the instruments in that trailer?
I was just thinking about that because that's one of the smaller ones I feel like we've seen, and that is quite a large band.
Next we have Miss Elizabeth Pyden, who is running for Circuit Court Judge. We see Elizabeth there in the antique car. And her members out there in their purple. Passing out candy to the kids. Good color choice, though. That purple will stand out.
Yeah. Everybody's done good color choices this year.
And next we have a newer member to the community. The Tractor Supply Company just opened a store down in what was the old Kmart Plaza. And I know this, my mom's actually taken our dog to their grooming center.
Oh, yeah?
Which
Is
I've
it
heard
nice?
is nice, yes.
Got a
Go
lot
in,
of
get your
options.
dog groomed for like $10.
Oh, that's nice, yeah.
Or washed, I think. I think they have other stuff there, but another business coming into town.
Next we have Art in Motion, which is Richmond's Dance Academy, showing off some of their moves for us today. Professor, are you coordinated enough to go into the Dance Academy?
Negatory.
No, can't happen.
Nope.
Just another challenge for Preston one of these years to go in with the dancers.
We need to write all these down. I'll have a busy year then.
I'll remember them. Anything that'll be funny, I'll remember.
As if I didn't have enough other things going on. We've got Kate's Funeral Home and Dr. Eric Groenveld, the dentist, proud sponsors of our Great Michigan Parade. And this next group in the teal pants, see, I got the colors down. Is that?
That's teal.
That's teal.
That, I will give you teal.
Teal
That's
and
good.
turquoise, I get confused. But these are the Easy Riders. They're a Shriner Parade unit. So another group like the Shriners raise money for different groups, including children with medical needs. They actually come to us one of the groups that comes back every year actually crosses the border from Canada to get here. So we see some of the Canadian flags on their bikes as they spray some of the kids with water.
Oh, I thought they might have been safe this year.
We're far enough
Yeah.
away. We're all right.
Although there is a pretty low curb, so if they really wanted to, they might be able to
Bump
jump
up.
it to get us.
And we see two more of the Easy Riders in their mini cars. One of them's actually pulling a guy on a skateboard.
At least he's got little goggles on to make it easier for him.
This is one I don't think we've had before in the parade, Caitlin, is the Strikers Entertainment Center. We see Jimmy Carl there, the owner of Strikers, talking to his bowling pin with hands mascot.
Preston, how are you at bowling?
Not very good.
Not good?
No.
Can you break 100 at least?
Close.
Close.
Depends on the day. I know Jim, but I don't have to go bowling if I go to Strikers because Jimmy's put in a ton of work. They got volleyball courts out there. We've had cornhole tournaments.
Ooh.
They redid the restaurant side of it. As we see a couple more sponsors went by there. Rick's shop, where we're located outside, and Print All. So actually they're neighbors in
In the same little
town,
area,
and then
yeah.
neighbors with the sponsorship. So we're getting close here. We're actually on the last page of our lineup, and it's been good. The weather's held for us.
Held for us.
So as we hear another Revolutionary War era band, the Plymouth Fife, and Drum Corps out of Plymouth, Michigan. A little bit of a hike for them.
Bands that we see in this genre, I guess would be the best way to describe
it does look. You see a lot of younger members.
It's always great to see the youth keeping up tradition.
Yes. Get younger members involved so that these groups can continue to come out to parades like this. Because it's such a cool sound, that older sound. Good shot of their transport truck. And we see more members of the Antique Tractor Show. We see a couple old McCormick Farmalls. And again, these tractors are out for display out in the park all weekend. Part of the Historical Society's events. And we got members of the Rock Church. That's out on County Line, just actually right outside of Anchor Bay High School. And they're in all sorts of neon shirts. Passing out water, passing out candy, and they got a band. What I'm assuming is their church band on the trailer.
I believe you're right. I have a couple of my friends that are actually members of this church, and they say that going to church is like a fun event now. They have all kinds of cool stuff with the bands and different fundraisers that they do.
I was lost in a broken heart. You picked me up and set it apart. For me, I should not have gone again.
And we see a couple more Shriner cars, as well as the Vioture 120 antique fire truck. That one's got a cool look to it because it's not necessarily shiny like the other ones. It's kind of got that old weathered look.
Sometimes it's nice to see them when they still have that old weather look. Keep them running nice, but let them show their age a little bit.
Yeah. There's the old Smoky train. Members of, looks like a veterans group. Veterans of all wars present there. Getting some applause from the passerbys. Another newer group is the Set in Stone Construction group. They're actually located next to BP for all sorts of remodeling, insurance work. I know they did a lot of work to that building next to BP to get it
to get it ready for
up
them.
to snuff. And the Long's propane truck.
Ooh, it scared me. I wasn't ready for that. The fire trucks and police, I'm ready for those. I'm assuming they're doing it. Then when other people do it, it always gets me.
As we see Proline Asphalt and D&E Landscaping, sponsors of not only the parade, but a couple other events here for the festival. One of the shorter drives probably was for the Romeo Band we're going to see here next, the Marching Bulldogs.
I will say the Romeo Band has a special place in my heart for two reasons. One, I love bulldogs. Probably one of my favorite breeds besides Rottweilers. And you can't, when you have an adorable mascot like that, how do you not love them?
True.
And I want to give a shout out. My cousin's beautiful fiance actually is now working at Romeo School. She just started this year.
Gotcha.
Maybe we can steal her press. Keep it her job at Richmond.
Send us a playlist.
We should. Next year we'll go around and be like, we really want to know what you're playing. I need a play set for me, please.
And following her town's band, we have the Romeo Peach Queen. There they are. Peach Queen this year was Samantha Bartolotta, and the runner-up was Michelle Penelon. Oh, excuse me, Caitlin. It's been
No, it's okay. Some of these girls, they have long names. Their festival actually just finished.
Yep.
this
and
last weekend.
the Romeo Lions Club would like to thank everybody that came out, and they hope to see them again in 2019 over Labor Day, correct?
Yes, the weekend of Labor Day, yes.
So it goes Peach Fest, then Good Old Days.
And Good Old Days, yes. And the Peach Festival girls are always so supportive of our queens, too. They actually invited them out for their fireworks this year, and we always love having them come out for us, too. When we're so close, too, it's so nice to get them together for everything.
Just right down 32. Oh, this is one of yours, Caitlin.
I know,
This
it is
group.
slaughter at sundown, but luckily for Preston, it looks like they forgoed
just
the
eat that
clowns
fire?
this year. Did they eat fire? Was there a fire eater?
I think she did.
Just kidding, Preston, I see a clown.
They don't see me,
Thank
see me, they don't see me.
I'll let Preston
He went
pick,
right by
I think.
and didn't see me.
I think I'll let Preston pick this year which scary place he wants me to take him. But behind the scary clowns is Howell, if I'm saying it correctly, Howell Veterinary Care Center.
And we see their mascot. I know they've got a lot of things they offer there besides the vet services. They've got boarding, they've got daycare, they've got grooming. So kind of one of those all-in-one places.
I was going to say, I actually used to work for one of their sister locations. They just got purchased by a new owner who is wonderful, and he's so excited to become part of the Richmond community and expand his branch out here and offer the best care for his animals.
Next, we see the Lisa Sinclair for Macomb County Clerk and Register of Deeds float. I think I saw Lisa go by. I might have.
She might be hiding on the other side.
You
of
can
the
tell
float.
it's an election year, so we got a lot of those floats.
Now we have Miss Armada in court, another sister queen that's close by and always so supportive of our girls as well. The 2018 Miss Armada is Allie, and her court members are Joni and Bethany. The girls would like to thank everybody that came out to support the Armada the Armada Fair, and they're so happy to be here for the Richmond Good Old Days.
Couple more sponsors, Pradco, Gallagher and Solanic Dentistry, and My Choice Energy. And following their queen is the Armada Tiger Marching Band.
You have to admit, the orange does look nice. It pops. With the black uniforms, it does pop.
But it's Armada orange, Caitlin. And I bleed blue and white. Bleed blue and white.
Remember, Preston, there's no hard feelings when it comes to the good old days.
True.
All are welcome.
Following the Armada trailer, they got their tiger there with the musical notes. We got a couple more sponsors. We've got Georgetown DJ.
And my favorite tropical smoothie.
I know they came by earlier. They were selling smoothies up and down the parade route. Caitlin tried to flag them down, but they must not have seen us hiding back here.
I was already roped in with all my mics and stuff. I couldn't make my way. Maybe afterwards. I might have to let town clear out a little bit first, though.
And we've got more Shriners here, the Shriners Hospitals for Children group with the tall Shriner unit. The huge crying baby. It's a big baby.
That is a big baby. But that's okay. He's got a big teddy bear up there with him, too.
Oh, yeah. Looks like the Shriner teddy bear. He's got the Shriner hat on. And they are followed by the Austin Catholic High School float. Austin Catholic out there in Chesterfield. We see some members of the school, and it looks like a graduate up there, two graduates.
Yeah, 2 graduates.
They're on the back of the float. AP classes, dual enrollment, career tech.
Behind them for sponsors, it looks like we had Ace Hardware and also Henry Ford Macomb behind them as well.
And this orange and black is not our Madar Alma. This is the Utica High School Band, the Marching Chieftains. Take a free ride.
You knew that one.
The big box of sugar. Oh, we got Superman taped to the dashboard. Superman's taking a free ride down the parade.
Is Superman your favorite of all of the DC heroes?
Actually, no, he would not be.
Really? Who is it?
I'm actually a big Flash guy.
Really?
Yes.
Into Flash. I'm not gonna lie, I was a really big Batman person, but then I saw who they casted for Aquaman, and now I think I might have to switch.
Ooh.
Have you seen him?
I have not.
He's a big man.
I've seen previews for it. I have not seen Aquaman.
You should. I highly recommend.
Big box of sugar means it must be the Pioneer Sugar Queen. It looks like this year's queen is Paige, and her court members are Rachel and Ashley. And they've got their blanket up there.
The girls came prepared. They were like, we know how to handle hot, we know how to handle cold. And we have Leap of Faith Dance Studio coming up.
Oh, I know this one. They've got the beat. Caitlin.
They do.
Leap of Faith has the beat. And they changed it.
But, I mean, you can't go wrong
No.
with this song. I always love seeing the different ages of dancers that come through with all of our dance studios. From the big girls to the little ones, they always have the best time. Preston's laughing because I actually had a fan that waved at me. I had one, he's had like 3. I feel pretty good
Dance
today.
teacher from Leap of Faith. See, she probably didn't know who I was, but she knows Caitlin Gordon.
You know, coming up after the girls, I was wondering when I was going to get to see my antique snowmobiles.
Yes. A fixture out there in the Bailey Park. Or actually, no, they're in. Yeah, I think they're in Bailey Park now.
Thanks.
We got all the antique snowmobiles, antique motorcycles. I actually remember being a kid and riding on well, it wasn't antique, but it was an older Yamaha that's about the same time frame as these.
I was going to say, my dad never kept his because the newest toy, that's what he wanted. So we always had the newer ones.
As we see the American Energy and Richmond Foot and Ankle Clinic banners go by.
And another pipe and drums. These would be the Macomb Highlanders. And again, while we have a little bit of a lull, in case you missed it earlier, Preston did mention that you can find all of the activities that have been going on filmed through Richmond TV. If you search on them for YouTube, you can look at the Grand Parade, past pageants, figure eights, derbies that have been going on throughout the festival this year and previous years.
And it looks like we've got members from Vans Tire Center. Actually, I just had to go down to Vans about a week ago. The last day westbound 696 was open. Popped the tire.
Oh, yeah.
But they got...
Had to get one more.
They got that tire in right away, got it on my car, and I was off and running.
Looks like we have the Haunted Farmer Terror zombie bus. So apparently, Preston, what we can do
I stand a chance.
is we can go on the bus and we get to shoot at the zombies.
Paintball.
No zombies are actually harmed in the process, though. All in good fun.
And coming down now, we've got Mark Ellis and his model town clock. You can see his town clock with the real
With the
town
real
clock
one.
and see actually how close it is.
Yeah, you did pretty good.
Mark playing the piano with his message that Republicans are people too. And they're nice people. You'll also see Mark around the fair zipping around on his moped, a member of our fair community. Sponsors Bertassi Bulldozing and Sunrise.
Hi, they're so fast.
I know. We've got so many sponsors. It's not a bad thing though, because we've got all these sponsors.
No.
Allows us to have such a
Beautiful.
what really
parade.
is the great Michigan parade. Oh, these guys next are awesome. Last year, I went over to the beer tent after, and they actually played for about an hour in the beer tent. Yeah. It's the Scottville Clown Band. The Clown Band. These are the nice kinds of clowns.
The one Preston can deal with.
They're also extremely talented clowns that play some of the instruments are very unique. Yeah, if you get a chance, you have to see these guys later on in the beer tent. It's quite the performance. They bring people up on stage,
That's always fun.
interacting with the crowd, and they're pretty good too, music-wise.
And with our clown band, that brings us to the end of our parade. Actually, following up behind them is just some of the men and women that make this weekend possible. They work tirelessly all year, meetings all the time to make sure that everybody has a fun and safe good old days weekend. And I'm sure they're very relieved that it's been another successful year for them.
Year, yes. We see parade marshals. We see the board there. We've got Mayor Ricks and his daughter Rachel. We see Matt and Alicia Ricks. Matt was kind enough to let us be out here next to his store. We see Dennis LaFleur waving to us, another parade marshal. Mark Ricks there, very involved with the parade, kind of putting all this together. It's really a year-long process to get just these 4 days.
It truly is. I've seen firsthand the dedication that these men and women have to making this weekend possible, and we thank them for it. It's always my favorite part of the year before I start the fall season. So on behalf of myself and Preston, we'd like to thank you all for joining us. We'd like to also thank all of our wonderful technicians and everybody at Richmond TV that make me and Preston look so good. More or less me. Preston's very popular.
It's a lot of work to get this to look good. But for Richmond TV, it's been a pleasure having you with us this year. And we hope that you check us out on our YouTube page or on local cable. And I'm Preston Trend, and with me again is Caitlin Gordon. Have a great year, everybody.
Bye, guys.